Welcome back to another one of my videos. As always, I find these stories that I read to you from different subreddits on the Reddit website. And I always leave a link in the description. So that way, instead of watching gameplay through the video, you can read along if you would like to. That said, let's get into the video. The Haunting of Hotel Delamar. Once upon a time, in a small town shrouded in darkness, there lived a young boy named Ethan. Tragedy has struck his life when a devastating fire engulfed his family's home, leaving him as the sole survivor. Haunted by the memories of that fateful night, Ethan was determined to find his family, or at least some answers, in the eerie Hotel Delamar. Rumors whispered through the town about the hotel's sinister past, but Ethan's desperation overshadowed any fear he felt. Armed with a flickering flashlight and a heavy heart, he stepped into the hotel's dimly lit lobby. The air was thick with an unsettling silence, as if the walls themselves held secrets. As Ethan ascended to the first floor, he noticed peculiar paintings lining the hallway. Each portrait depicted a family, their eyes hollow and their smiles twisted into sinister grins. Unease crept up his spine, but he pressed on, determined to uncover the truth. On the second floor, the atmosphere grew colder, and the flickering lights cast eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. Ethan's heart raced as he stumbled upon a dusty room filled with old photographs. To his horror, he recognized his own face in each picture, but the people surrounding him were strangers. Confusion and fear consumed him, but he couldn't turn back now. With trembling hands, Ethan reached the third floor, where the air grew heavy with a suffocating darkness. The sound of distant whispers echoed through the corridor, sending chills down his spine. As he cautiously opened a creaking door, he found himself in a room filled with mirrors. But these mirrors were different. They reflected not his physical appearance, but his deepest fears and insecurities. The fourth floor beckoned Ethan with a foreboding presence. The walls seemed to close in on him, and the floorboards groaned beneath his weight. In a room at the end of the hallway, he discovered a dusty journal. Its pages were filled with his own handwriting, detailing his darkest thoughts and secrets. Panic consumed him as he realized that someone had been watching him, documenting his every move. Summoning every ounce of courage, Ethan ascended to the fifth and final floor. The air grew thick with malevolence, and the flickering lights cast eerie shadows that danced along the walls. In a room at the end of the hallway, he found a locked door. Desperation fueled his determination, and he searched for a key. Finally, in a forgotten corner, Ethan discovered a rusty key hidden beneath a decaying carpet. With trembling hands, he unlocked the door, revealing a room filled with photographs of his family. Tears streamed down his face as he realized the truth. His family had perished in the fire that claimed their home. But the horror didn't end there. As Ethan turned to leave, he caught a glimpse of his reflection in a cracked mirror. His eyes were hollow, his smile twisted into a sinister grin. The hotel had consumed him, revealing the darkness that lay dormant within his soul. In that moment, Ethan understood that the hotel was not just a place of nightmares, but a manifestation of his own inner demons. He had lost not only his family, but also himself in his relentless pursuit of answers. Trapped within the hotel's walls, he would forever wander, a ghostly reminder of the horrors that lurked within. Broken Anne. It was a midsummer night, and it was a hot night in Arizona. I worked as a coroner, and I've seen many things that just never bothered me. Dead people were just bodies to me, so the job came easy. The sight of some of the things I've seen were just natural, no matter how gruesome they were. The one case that really bothered me was an old woman named Anne, as we came to know her from identification found in the house. No one had seen or heard from her in almost a few days, which was unusual due to her neighbors sending the police to do a wellness check on her. They found her dead, laying on her side. It looks like it was a stroke, but they couldn't be entirely sure. And then my coworker and I were sent to pick up the remains. When we arrived to the small house that should have been condemned due to to its poor condition, we walked in the front door and there she was. I thought it was going to be a pick up and grab usually kind of thing, but I was so wrong. The position she died in was something out of a horror movie. She was lying on her side, but her back was contorted in such a way that seemed almost unreal. Her neck and head were further back, with a look on her face which chilled me to the bone. A look of excruciating pain or horror. Her arms stretched out as if she was reaching for something. Fingers looked like claws, bony arms with barely any muscle. I'm not sure what happened with me, but I immediately froze in fear at the sight of her. When it was time to put her in a bag, we couldn't just because of the shape she was in. I couldn't stop looking at her face, sunken in cheekbones and eyes caved in, no teeth at all. It was just scary to me. We were unable to zip her up and couldn't just snap her back into place since the rigor mortis had long set in. We had no choice but to white sheet her and put her on a stretcher, take her as is and into the back of the truck. Unfortunately, I was the lucky one to ride in the back of the van. I had to keep her from falling off since the awkward position. As the truck started driving, I did my best to strap her down, but it required hands-on stability. I held onto her bony arms like I was holding onto a cold tree branch as the white sheet started to fall off. I kept trying to keep it in place, but due to my partner's bad driving, the sheet had slipped off, and that's when I had had enough. Her face became visible and was staring me right in the face. Her gray, sunken-in eyes staring at me with that painful horror expression looking me in the eyes. Holding her as still as possible, even as I started to shake at my grip on her. My breathing got heavier by the second each time I would look at her and try to look away. My mind began playing tricks on me. It was as if she was exhaling in my face and the smell of death was heavy, mere inches from Anne's horrific face. I quietly began to cry just as I was experiencing my first ever panic attack. I couldn't bear to stand it any longer as I screamed at my partner to hurry up. My fear of this woman had set in. Dizzy and close to fainting, while glancing at her through my peripheral vision. 10 minutes later, we arrived at our destination, and I immediately got out of the back door of the truck and fell to cold pavement, catching my breath while shaking uncontrollably. Everyone who was there had known me to be one of the strongest-willed people, but that right there was my breaking point. I cried as I caught my breath. One of the men there had to comfort me and take me away, but just as we were walking inside, I took one last look at Anne's body, and it just so happened to lean sideways off the stretcher and fall to the floor of the truck, which prompted her neck and arms to snap at impact. I quickly dropped my head as the other workers there rushed to cover her up and take her body off from the truck. I quit my job a week later due to high anxiety from the experience, and now I work at the warehouse. Still medicated and taking it easy these days. The look of Anne's face still haunts me and always will. I shudder at the thought and at sight of any body these days, so funerals is what I try to avoid. If you liked that video, then like the video. If you're going to bed soon, sweet dreams. And if you have a full day ahead of you, I hope it goes well. Thank you for taking your time to spend on watching one of my videos on my channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.